Have you come all this way just to die? I could tame you.
This calls
No.
for disorderly conduct!
You will perish. Enjoy this moment. I certainly am.
Hello guys, welcome back to another build video here today, and we got a brand new Harlow for you guys. It is a very similar skill tree, but this is splash damage Harlow. That is the focus is splash damage, but we also really didn't use too much of the splash damage in the blue tree. But this is splash damage Harlow, and this is a one-shot Harlow also. It one-shots everything in the game on UVH6. Alright, so this is the build. So for the build, we are using two spread launchers. Two spread launchers is really useful for Bloom, and then if you're going to farm Timekeeper, it's also useful there because you're going to want two of them so you can shoot both. You can take out both phases in one shot. Then you have no issues. But yeah, you're going to want two spread launchers for sure. And then we're using the linebacker for the crystals, which is really, really, really good. You need a very specific enhancement for this to be good, and you're going to want one with the 167 centimeter splash radius. And then you want to get yourself a Catawba's Revenge to also get your action skill back. And then you're going to want to get yourself a Enrage and Amp rep kit. So this gives you Amp and Enrage, so you get 30% damage increase on use, and you also have Amp. So this is really, really nice. And then we're using Kill Shot Vesicating Throwing Knife, which is a crit knife, which we use you only really need the crit knife on true mode. On true mode, we need a few crit knives to fully one-shot them. Or you can use both spread launchers to take care of them. It really don't matter. But Bloom, I'd recommend using crit knives though. And then we're using the compiler for extra action skill rotation, because this has 5 points in the concurrence, and this has kinetic damage, damage dealt, and action skill rotation. So this gives us a bunch of action skill rotation, which is really, really nice. We can get tons of stacks, and then we're using triple amp watch for dinner. So this will give us 150% gun damage, which our spread launcher is getting all boosts at once. So if we're using this, we're getting 350% extra gun damage, and the spread launcher's entire shot is getting it. And then we are using the head ringer gun with torque license parts, gain 25% damage and 100% damage radius. Shotgun critical damage, gun critical damage and shotgun critical damage. These are both essential because we are infinite crit. And then we're using shotgun splash radius for our lead balloon, so we get more radius on it. And then we're using one airstrike for more splash radius. And then we're using one God Killer for extra damage, 3 Dead Eyes because we're infinite crit. So I think it makes a lot of sense. It does lots of damage that way. And then for the skill tree, we are rocking 5 in Man's Hum. This skill, okay, so before anybody tells me in the comments below to use this skill doesn't proc it. None of the skills that we use proc the skill except for when your action skill ends. When your action skill ends is when the skill is going to proc. So it's not doing any good whatsoever on this build because we are not using anything with radiation whatsoever. Even if you use this, it don't proc it. This don't proc that skill either. It only procs your skill when your that skill when it's and your action skills ended, and you do the most damage while your action skills active. So you want the most action skill rotation. So I really don't see the point to this skill. So I'm just saying that right now. And then we're using 5 points in the momentum, which gives us extra critical hit damage. And then we're using 3 points in the creative overflow. Gun damage is up to 36% up to overshield. converted reality just because it's extra skill cooldown. Plus, you need this to get down in the tree, so this is really nice. Anyways, 5 points in decoherence for extra damage dealt. And then we're using Latin Charge. Harlow deals bonus gun damage with melee attacks and with guns and melee attacks and axe kills while she has overshield. The more overshield she has, the bigger the bonus, which is really, really nice. And then we're using Excited X State. Harlow gains increased critical damage whenever Harlow is enemy is damaged by Harlow's axe skill. The next shot on the enemy will automatically be critical hit because she gets more critical hit damage, which is 35% more. And then we're using Distribution Function, which restores our shield on damage dealt. So we're always having a full shield when we're doing damage, so we're always getting amp. And then we're using the blue tree. We're using Parallel Circuit, which gives us 30% extra gun damage, which is really nice. And we're using 5 in Bright Future for extra fire rate. We have to put 1 in Negative Entropy just to get points into Precision Engineering for more critical hit damage, which is very important. And then our class mod is putting 5 points into here, which is giving us 25% axe skill duration per entangled enemy. And then it's also giving us an extra 14% splash damage. I hope you guys, and this is the specialization. So we are using Bullets Are Scared of Me, Best Defense, which gives us damage dealt 30% on full. We're using Riddle this, and we're also using Groundbreaker. So Groundbreaker is, if I don't know, for when I was playing Bloom on True Mode on this build, because you can fully one-shot him on True Mode before he jumps. It's just extremely hard the time. So I was using this to melee him afterwards, because this will do a lot of damage after you shoot him with the spread launcher. It will do tons and tons of damage because there will be tons of damage stored. So yeah, you guys can pretty much this last one. These 3 right here, I say these 3 right here gotta stay. This last one you can play around with if you want, but I prefer this just because it gives us stored damage just in case they don't one shot him. You can just punch him and then it'll kill him. So it's you guys can play around with that one if you guys don't want to use Groundbreaker, because this really isn't a melee build. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build video. I'll see you guys in the next one. And make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below. And I also live stream on Twitch every night at 11 p.m. EST. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.